Mic test. Great. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for still staying awake. I know I'm the last speaker today, so if I were you, my only thought is let's just get this over with. So thank you very much for bearing this with me. A quick introduction about our company, Talon.One. It's actually a company headquartered in Berlin. It's a German tech company that only does a few things. For example, promotions, loyalty, discount. Basically, what it does is provide a rules engine where it connects to all the solutions that you have heard about today and your infrastructure so that you can really run some powerful discount, promotions, loyalty program and all of that. And the first few customers that our founders closed and worked with them back in the days was Adidas. So you can imagine Adidas being one of the global retailers, having such an expansive omni-channel operations with strong e-commerce app, omni-channel retail stores, app and everything. They move away from the legacy tech to Talon.One just for the few simple things that we can do. But I'm not going to talk more about what Talon.One does, and what I'm going to share today is I hope to be able to provide you some values, which is some of the best practices that we think when it comes to designing promotions and loyalty program. Because I believe what I have prepared for the deck today hopefully could be something important for you to have the deck later downloaded. Feel free to let me know. I can just share with you the deck. And then next time, when you heard your boss or supervisor asking you, how can we generate more revenue? How can we cut down the cost of running our operations? How can we make more money in general? This could be some of the ideas that you can just let them know that we actually have some best practices when it comes to doing the promotion, doing the customer growth programs, but it just takes time if you want to do this manually. So yeah, these are some of the tips that I would like to share with you today. So the structure of today's slide is, during the first section of it, I'm going to share a bit with you on how is the current state of the promotions and loyalty program, especially we know the uncertainty of the global economies and the way that economics works nowadays, companies operate nowadays, is just so different than before. Previously, it's growth at all costs. Now, it's not really about growth at all costs anymore. It's about really finding that sustainability, finding that margin, how we can continue to grow the business or make the business more profitable. And this is something that can be reflected later in the slide. And then I'm also going to share what are some of the workflows that you can go through manually just with your team, how to design a really margin-oriented, margin-based framework that can come up and craft responsible promotions and growth programs. And yeah, feel free to ask me any questions if you have any Q&A needs. So the current state, of course, is we are always going to get this from the boss, from the board of directors, from the people who control the budget, that we now need to do more with less budget, right? And yet, with less budget, there are always growth KPIs attached to it. Not just because now we have a lesser budget, we can expect you to grow maybe slower. There is still always KPIs hanging over our head, telling us how we should increase our user base, how we should still increase the revenue, how we should still increase the profit margin, yet telling you upfront, you just don't have that much budget. So how do we do this? And how are the other companies doing this? And why having a right framework to think all this through will become much more relevant than ever because of the economic uncertainty that we are going through today. If you look at some of your current promotions, loyalty, if you are running any consumer brands, be it retails, be it fintech, as long as you are consumer-oriented businesses that have users like you and me, you must have some programs that either reward users for referring their friends and family or reward users for finally starting an account with you, what you can do next and all that. So if you look at some of the coupons, discounts, and loyalty program that you're designing nowadays, either you're doing it in-house or you're doing it with some of the tools that you can find, there could be very, very basic programs. And so it's all about just growing, but not really having that framework to tell you how you can grow, but still increase the profit, which is the margin that we're going to focus later today. And when we look at the overall budget, there will be budget reinvested always to this kind of program. So it's always a good idea to relook into such program that is already eating up your budget, and then finally find out a way to optimize them so you can continue to grow, but not necessarily losing out all the margin that you could have actually retained. So what has changed? What are some of the companies that are adapting to these economic uncertainties? One of the case studies that we see is British retailer ASOS. So right now, their focus is on profitability through better promotions. Before, back in pre-pandemic period, back in like around since 2015, they proudly share that they have increased their zero-fee return window from 28 days to 45 days. Basically, they want you to just return if you feel like it. And they are proud of this, and they're willing to hurt their margin, they're willing to hurt their profitability just to expand it. But that was during the good times, right? And then during those good times, there are so many buy now, pay later options as purchase options for people to quickly convert into a sale. And it's always available to all kinds of consumers the way that they operate before. And then the kind of campaigns, the kind of social media marketing they run before, all focuses on short-term conversion. They just want people to make their purchase as soon as possible. That's it. But now, their CEO is explaining to the board, to the investors, to the general public, why they are decreasing return windows from 45 days to 28 days, and buy now, pay later no longer become an option. It's only available to selected few consumers that they understand these people usually have the right user behaviors that they're okay with, and then these kind of customers can still see the buy now, pay later options to them. And they have also tried really hard to identify the least profitable customer segment within their consumers. Around 6% of its total consumers, total customers, have costed their business more than 100 million a year just in promotions. These 6% of the customers that I've identified are the ones who return products all the time, are the ones who shop a lot when there are promotions. So this segment of least profitable customers, they want to now run a more personalized and margin-based promotion program, which then when these customers go online, they actually cannot see so many different promotions. And when they're adding products to the cart and all that, there are a lot of different terms and conditions like minimum spending, product bundling, buy above certain amount, only then you can enjoy promotions. So a lot more restrictions on this particular segment. So what they get in the recent financial result is, for sure, there's a decrease in revenue, 18% of decrease in revenue. Yet, what they get from the profit margin is 40% increase. So the CEO expects by 2025, they could have a turnaround, and the company is in a more healthier position than ever because they now have the right structure, right margin to continue to expand business without freely, wildly giving away the margins just for short-term growth. And some other companies like this India-based food delivery platform, Zomato, they are also focusing on profitability through better loyalty program. So previously, the loyalty program, you pay a fixed fee, you get on-time guarantee. As in, if you get your food delivered to you late, you're going to get a lot of rewards to compensate you. And then the fee is so low, basically the loyalty program pick up really, really fast, but it's just not helping them a lot. And then now in 2023, they have removed the on-time guarantee. You are not going to get much from us even though the food is delivered late. And they are also progressively increasing the gold membership fee so that at the end, they find this loyalty program is still very valuable to the business because this segment of users, they are the one who buy their services, purchase their services, their products a lot, the most frequent one, which is why they are still contributing to almost half of the revenue. And yet, because of these simple tweaks they have, they are seeing increase in margin growth of over 30% quarter over quarter. So what we can see from these two use cases is now is perhaps the best time to look into some of the basic things that your company, your group, your team have been doing all over the years and find out ways to tweak it, find out ways to make it more data-driven, more smart, more personalized, to be able to still sustain growth, but not freely giving the margins away, losing, bleeding into the company's coffers. So how do we do this, right? What do we mean by margin-based marketing? How do we continue to look at the margin and then reinvest it into all the different customer programs? So what I'm about to show is just some of the best practices that we see with our customers. And whenever we onboard our customer, this is also some of the processes that we always go through with them because our platform is the rules engine that they can run loyalty programs, run promotions, but there's always about what do you want to really run on Talon.One's infrastructure. And these are some of the ideas that we often want to enlighten them. And like I said, this is really back to the basics. And because of how back to the basic it is very feasible, it is very doable. If you want the deck, just let me know. I'll share it with you. And then if you tell me one of the best content place in Ho Chi Minh, I'll even present the deck just for the stakeholders that you are addressing now. So the LTV, customer lifetime value, profit margin is something that we want our users, our brands to really focus on. So the relationship that we're seeing here is profit margin, the margin that you're getting from all the different transactions that you see, times the repeat rate of the customers coming back to you, minus the customer acquisition cost, right? It represents the lifetime value. And then if you look at this lifetime, this simple formula that we all know, there are so many rewards that are actually attached to it. Some you might know about, some you might not know about, because all these programs, they can be run by different teams on different group levels, on different channels. And so, for example, instant rewards like vouchers, discount during checkout could instantly convert users, right? So you get more purchases, you get more transactions, and then delayed rewards, for example, having a proper loyalty program, having a cashback for the next transaction so that they come back to get that cashback they think you owe them now, can help increase the repeat rate along with all the marketing costs that you are spending. So this is the relationship, and we learned that actually it will be 5 times cheaper to retain than to acquire a new user. So you already have an existing customer base. Either you have them by a loyalty program or you are doing other ways, but you still retain those customer data. So instead of always looking at new ways to get new users, how do we get more value from the existing customers will always be a better strategy, because it's just much cheaper to start there. You have data to work with, you have so many different solution partners that are presented today that can help you in this route. And so focusing on the LTV by driving LTV of the existing customers will be the recommendation that we'd like to make. But of course, doing all this will not be simple, right? Because you need to align with your team, you need to make sure that you have the right financial model, you need to make sure that how are you making money? How is your company making money? You need to have that question answered thoroughly. So it's always not easy. And most importantly, it's also not easy when you have all these questions. To execute it, you might be lacking in the technical infrastructure, or you might not be able to scale it up. Maybe you can do it for 1 or 2 quarters, but just not sustainably. So some of the levels that we think a good promotion program, a good loyalty program can help with, especially when you're going through these processes. If you look at the profit margin of the definition, it comes from a revenue minus whatever marketing cost that you're spending on them, and the cost of goods sold, fulfillment cost, operating cost, and then you get a profit margin. And throughout this formula, you can see how important promotions and loyalty program already play, because there are discount and bundles that can help with it. There are coupon and vouchers that are just sprinkling along the customer journey. And all of this will impact the profit margin. So how do we really design a responsible program? You need to sit down with your team, discuss about a KPI, and then you need to look at your channels, look at the digital infrastructure, realize where they can come from, and then better, you should have a promotion engine or loyalty engine like Talon.One that can really do everything consistently, seamlessly across the channels, not just on retail stores, but not on app, not just on app, but not on retail stores. And then you need to make sure that, you work with a good engagement infrastructure, or you already have a good engagement infrastructure to be able to deliver these kind of messages to the customers, and then have the right tools to do all those analytics. This will be, of course, the ideal scenario. And just some of the examples of what ideal promotion should be, offers should be when they go through this design workflow. Settle your revenue, your KPIs, your budget really well. Understand what kind of audience segments you're focusing on, what kind of products we're targeting, and then what are the reward mechanisms that we're running, and then measure whether it is working or not. So this, again, like I said, is the ideal scenario when you have everything in place. And again, when you have everything in place, you can start thinking about how your loyalty program should work on news customers, what do they get, on the most loyalty customers, what do they get. So it's a very satisfying thought process to think about how you can really go through this exercise with your customers. But like I said, the reality is always kind of hard. You it's easy to come up with all this framework, all these strategies, but when you start executing them, you would realize the current system, maybe the CRM, maybe the POS, maybe the data analytics system, they're siloed. They're standalone system where they can't coordinate the reward mechanisms that they're set. For example, gold customer see a different pricing, and then customer who haven't been active for a long time receive a different offer. And then people who are always returning to you on loyalty, what do they get? So when you want to create a consistent reward mechanism, once you're done through all these understanding margins, understanding KPIs and all that, it's just very hard to execute them. And when it's hard to execute them, you can't execute them for long. And again, if it's not sustainable, it's not a good idea. And you would realize, yeah, it's always a silo standalone system that you're running on, or all the promotions that you're seeing, they're hard-coded. They are manual effort. You need a team to really look at the data, reconcile it, take a few times to turn around before vouchers can be sent out. So it's always hard. And so allow me to shamelessly plug a bit of what Talon.One is, right? So Talon.One is one of the few engines that not only does loyalty. It's very easy to find a system that does loyalty. You open up a bubble milk tea shop today, you open up a pho restaurant, franchise restaurant today, you want to start a loyalty program, it's very easy. There are so many solutions out there. But then, when I want to customize offers on my retail stores and e-commerce, and also show different pricing to the different customers, we are one of the only few solutions that does all these, and then having the modern infrastructure, API-based, microservices-based, that can communicate with all the best of breed solutions that you have heard today, so that you get the best analytics, best audience segmentation released to us, we run the promotions, and then you get the data forwarded, interconnected natively with other data analytics that can tell you how successful this program is. So yeah, we are that kind of solution, and so the infrastructure, when you are willing to go through this exercise with us, you'll find that having this system can really improve your margin from day one at the get-go. So this is one of the few solutions that are tied to a revenue in such an intimate way, because the first day you launch it is the day you can start seeing how revenue has been impacted. So our iWise is a discussion that our team takes very, very seriously. And yeah, this is just a high-level architecture of how it looks like. When your engine, like Talon.One, is that open, that microservices-based, you can connect it to a customer data platform, you can connect it to some of the retail point-of-sale system that you're doing now, and then you can connect it to some of the engagement infrastructure so that we run omni-channel message that reminds them on how many more cashback they could get actually if they return for that third purchase. So yeah, a quick summary of what we have all heard today. We have heard Mixpanel, we have heard mParticle, we have heard Talon.One, we have heard CleverTap. How do they become part of the tech stack for you to really run through a very consistent design to generate the right revenue for you? And so yeah, these are some of our existing use cases with our customers, where, for example, one of the retailers we work in Europe, they have a lot of different stores operating. They also have a very active e-commerce engine, and previously they're just running something very simple, 50% off site-wide offer, and then with us, they have that luxury to keep on testing new framework and see what works, what sticks, and if it doesn't work, a few clicks away, that promotion is gone, and then they can start building a new one. And so what they get at the end is increase of margin, that's for sure. And then surprisingly, with more rules attached to the kind of promotions that they're running, actually they're seeing more demand and they're seeing higher conversion. Because when your promotion is not run 24/7, all day long, no strings attached, people appreciate it when they're being invited to participate in it. So these are some of the observations that we have seen. And yeah, some of the other omni-channel operations that we run with fashion retailer, again, the same case. We don't want to just focus on revenue, we want to focus on the margin. So at the end of the day, after optimizing promotions and loyalty program for this fashion retailer, what they see is they're getting slightly lesser revenue than before. Previously it's 31 million, now it's 30 million, but the promotion spend has been cut down significantly. Previously they splashed 5.5 million just to earn 31 million. Now they splash 2.6 million and they get 30 million. So the margin here, the difference here, the kind of value they can bring back to the team, to the customers, is something that we're very proud to be able to be part of the component in this entire journey. So yeah, some of the summaries, back to the best practices, what are some of the teams you need to involve to make sure that you're able to design the right promotion, loyalty program. You need finance, commercial, customer care, BI reporting team, all stand by to be able to support you in this journey. And yeah, the old strategy, let's forget about them. Nowadays, let's focus on growing sustainably. And yeah, what's a margin-based strategy? Some summary over here. And yeah, one of the catchy way to really summarize what we really recommend: promo, P, personalized. You need to make sure that you're not running really generic, generally applicable promotions. You need to make sure that you restrain. So not everything has to be discounted. Not everything has to be rewarded with certain points, with certain cashback. Choose which are the customers that will get converted through it, and then observe, look at whether it is really impacting your businesses, focus on the margin, and then yeah, find the right infrastructure, find the right team, most importantly, so that you're able to orchestrate all this. Yeah, so we are not a random company with a weird name based in Germany. We have worked with a lot of the world-renowned brands in the Europe, in the US. We are still relatively new to Asia Pacific, but in the region, we're also working with a lot of the very reputable financial banks, F&Bs, retailers. And as long as you're consumer-oriented, Talon.One can be something very important to your overall tech stack. Thank you.